Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you here from all over the United States and around the world. Tonight, we're going to have some fun with an inking technique. I really love to use my ink cubes to create depth on my silhouette style stamps. So we're going to be doing some of that tonight. And I just wanted to say how much I missed you. I'm so sorry that I couldn't be here on Thursday night. I missed you all so very much. And before we get started, let's say hello to Tom, because I know he missed you too. Hello, Tom.
Hola!
How are you?
I'm great. Is this Friday?
No, it's not. It's not Friday. No, it's only Tuesday, hon.
Okay, well then...
Still great?
I'm doing okay.
Okay. Well, it's great to see you. Wasn't it hard on Thursday to not be with everybody?
Yeah, that's why I'm a tad askew.
You are askew tonight. That's true. Tom walked by my office earlier and he said to me, "Why didn't you tell me my hair looked like this?" I said, "I don't know. I don't think I look at you enough." So I'm sorry. Your hair looks great now, though.
Too much information, right? You only see what you need to see, which is just a stick figure.
In the dead space.
In the dead space.
That's all I see. Well, we missed you guys so much. So I'll tell you, I wasn't sick. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, I hope you feel better." And I really appreciate that because I didn't feel great, but I wasn't sick. Like I didn't have a cold or anything like that. I actually had a biopsy done, and it was done in a very tender spot on my body. And Thursday morning, I woke up and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to be able to do this today. So good news, the biopsy came back just fine. Everything is fine. But yeah, that happened on Wednesday, and I thought I'd be just fine for Thursday, but not so much. So thank you all for all of your well wishes, and I sure appreciated that an awful lot. I know Tom was just kind of walking around at lunchtime going, "No crafternoon, huh?" So it is great to have you all here tonight. We're going to be playing with the Summer Silhouette stamp set, and that's the one that came in that fun little watercolor floral ephemera kit. We're going to do this one, but if you don't have this one, you can also use Wild Blossoms. That's a great stamp set. That's a great comment. I love that. You could also use the Wild Blossom stamp set, or you can do your whole own kind of thing with any silhouette stamps that you have. So let's get started. Now, for this card, I'm going to be using this stamp. Let's see here. Why don't we go to the overhead? I'm going to be using this stamp, and this is just a branch with leaves on it. And then it's got these empty spots here that you can put something in. And it's got two different roses, and they face in different directions. So I'm going to use these to stamp in here, but you can mix and match this stamp set with the Wild Blossom stamp set. Let me get that one just so I can show you what it looks like in case that's the one you have. That's this stamp set. I don't know if you see that. It's a little different because this is a very skinny branch where this is a big fatter leaves. But these little flowers would work on here too. So if you're like me and you like to mix and match your stamp sets, you could try this branch and add some of these flowers, or vice versa, or whatever you have in your collection. You don't have to use this at all. So let's start by putting this piece of cardstock in the MISTI. Now, you don't have to do this either. You can use an acrylic block for this if you prefer. But because I'm going to be using a lighter green ink, I think I want to double stamp it a couple times, if that makes sense. I really want to get the light green really dark. So I'm going to show you two different ways to do this. The first way is the way that I think most of you are going to feel more comfortable doing this, because I get this same comment over and over again from everybody that they don't necessarily like when I use my ink cubes over each other, and I'll show you what I mean.
And you have to explain what is a silhouette stamp.
A silhouette stamp. Okay, so a silhouette stamp is a stamp that you don't color in. It's a stamp where you stamp it in color or you stamp it in black. Where a stamp like this one, let me find one here. Give me a second. Oh my goodness. Let me find one. Okay, so a stamp set like this one, this is Argita's new Beautiful Blooms. This is a line art stamp. So silhouette stamps are solid. Line art stamps are just the outline of the images where you use colored pencils or markers to color in the design. So silhouette stamps don't need any coloring, although you can use markers and colored pencils with silhouette stamps. For the most part, most people use them to stamp in solid color. So I hope that helps clear that up. Okay, so for my first branch here, I'm going to have it going up this way toward the top of the cardstock. And I'm going to do most of this coming in from the one side, but I might do a little bit down here. We'll see. So I'm going to pick that up with my MISTI, and I'm going to put that back into that upper corner. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit because I am sure that this is plenty big enough to see. I'm going to use Jelly Bean Green ink, and Jelly Bean Green is one of our lighter greens. It's not quite as light as Apple Mint or our light spruce, but it is a lighter ink, and sometimes with the lighter ink colors, I like to stamp it twice to get a solid color. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this. Let me get my Chucky tool. You don't need to use a tool if you don't want to. You can just use, you can just use your hand or your sleeve or a rag. Okay, so there's my first layer of Jelly Bean. Now I'm going to stamp it a second time just to get it nice and solid, although that is looking pretty good.
Speaking of Chucky tool, Chucky's in the house.
Hey, Chuck! Chuck Meadows is here. Hello, Tom in the dead space. That's awesome. Okay, so now you can see I've got a little bit more of a solid image, and I'm going to take my tidy towel and I'm going to clean this stamp. Okay, now this is how a lot of you like to do this technique. Now I'm going to take an ink cube, and I'm going to take, this is fresh asparagus, so this is a much darker green. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add, almost like I was creating a two-step stamp, I'm going to add a little bit of dark green around the outsides of some of these leaves. So I'm just going to take my ink and I'm going to just press it onto the outside like that, a little bit there, maybe a little bit there, right there. That's a little much on that one. Let me clean that one off. I think this one's a little much too. I'm going to go back and do those two again, because I really just want this to be just a light little touch of this dark green just along the outside. Okay, so I'm going to stamp that. And this gives you almost that two-step stamped look. See how that adds so much depth and dimension? Now, if you wanted to add a little bit into the stems, you could just take your ink cube and just do a little bit here and there, like that, and stamp that. See how that just gives it a little bit of depth? Okay, so now once I have that one done, now I'm going to do the branch again. I'm going to clean the branch real well here. And then I am going to move it to a different spot. So I do want to make sure that it's not wet from my tidy towel, and it's not. So now I think I'll bring this one up from about here, like that. I do want to make sure when I'm placing this stamp this time that I leave enough room for the flower head to go onto that branch, if that makes sense. So I'll bring it down just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to pick that up. Now I'm going to do that same thing again. I'm going to do 2 layers of Jelly Bean. I love this technique too. It's very fun and it's very relaxing and somewhat therapeutic to just take your time You know, stamping and making cards is not a race. We want to enjoy the process. And sometimes these techniques slow us down a little bit and allow us to do that. So now I'm going to add some of that fresh asparagus again, a little bit on the edges.
And that set is Summertime?
This is called Summer Silhouettes. And this one was part of the kit. It will be going back and it'll be going into our regular inventory with our next release. So I'm hoping that we have it in time, but it's going to be part of our regular inventory. So if you miss this one, don't worry, you'll be able to get it. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add a little bit just in a couple little spots. And I got a little on this leaf, so I'm just going to wipe that off. And just to add that little bit of green in there. See how fun that is? It's so easy. Now, I want to fill in this area, but I don't necessarily want a flower in there. So I'm just going to, maybe I do. Should I put a flower? I could put a flower. That's going to be really close to that one. I think I'll just do this leaf like right here, like this. Okay. Just want to fill that in a little bit. So I'm just going to ink up the leaf, and that's right there. And this would be a great time to pull out your ink cubes if you just wanted to ink a tiny little spot. Will that do it? No, need a little bit more on there. I am going to wipe the stem off, though, because I just don't want that stem. Okay. There we go. A little bit more. And again, I'm wiping off the stem, just using my tidy towel. And then I'm just running my finger over it just to make sure there isn't any excess water there. Okay. And then I'm going to add a little bit of that green just on the end here, just on this one side.
And do you use just plain water on your tidy towel?
I do, but you can use stamp cleaner on it if you want. But I would just wash it after you do that because, you know, stamp cleaner can be a little, I guess, a little slimy. You know, it's got like a little oily residue in it. So you always have to kind of wash your stamp with a little bit of water or your tidy towel after you use it. All right, so do you like that, or should I add a little bit more up here? I kind of feel like I should add a little bit more up at the top. Just one little bit of leaves up here. I think it'll finish it off more and make it feel more, I don't know. I think it'll look good. Kind of having like the leaves come down in this way. Okay. Let's do it. Why not? I don't even know if I'm going to need all this space because I am going to be, I was thinking about cutting this with Master Layouts 2 to make it a little bit smaller. So I might do that still, but just in case, it's better to have the image there and cut it off than to not have it and wish that you had had a little bit more of the image. I think that little bit really helps. There we go. And then we'll add that little dark green again. So there, we've got some beautiful shading there. And that really kind of takes your silhouette stamps up a notch. I'm so used to using my silhouette stamps as black silhouettes, and I'm sure that you guys are too. We make so many of those beautiful ink blended backgrounds that we kind of always grab these stamps and go with black ink. But when you're doing them with color, it really gives you such a nice option to be able to do a two-tone look. Now, if you don't have ink cubes, you can also get a similar look by using a marker. And I'm going to show you that on a different stamp. So let me pull a marker from here. Here's a darker marker. I think that'll work. So if you're going to do this, you want to do it with water-based markers, not alcohol-based markers. And the reason I say that, here's a water-based marker. This is a Zig Clean Color Real Brush marker, and this is a Marvy marker. The reason why I say not Copic markers or alcohol markers is because they dry almost instantly, and it makes it very hard to do this technique. So I'll just do it on this acrylic block here, and we'll just do a little bit of it. Well, I might as well do the whole thing, because this will be my marker demo piece right here. Okay, so we'll just stamp that right here. Okay, so now if I had done that in the Misty, this would have worked. Let's do it a different way for this, because I'm using an acrylic block, and I can almost hear a lot of you going, Gina, you got to do something. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this Zig Clean Color Real Brush marker, and I'm going to add, that's not very dark. Let's add a color that you can really see. We're going to add a green that's not going to really be a good green color. Let me do this with a different color ink, because I want this to be a good lesson and not something that makes you go, oh, I don't like that, but you won't like it if it's the wrong color. Okay, let's try this with medium spruce. All right, so I'm going to ink this up with medium spruce, and we'll see if this color is dark enough. So this is called green. See, I'm just adding some color onto the sides there. Now, what's fun about this is this can give you a more watercolored look. And I'll show you what I mean, because when you use an acrylic block, you can actually spritz this with some water. And I think I'm going to do that and show you. So I've got my water bottle here. I'm going to give it a little spritz. And then I'm going to stamp it, and it's going to look really watercolory. Do you see the way it just all spread? Okay, I'm going to give it a second to transfer. Can you see how pretty the different greens are in that? Can they see that, Tom?
I think so.
So it's got like some grayish green, and then it's got some more vibrant green. So that's a way to do it with a marker. You don't have to do the spritz part. Another technique you can use is, let's go with a real light green. Let's try some apple mint. So you can ink this up, and then you can do the thumping technique to get kind of a cool inked look by taking a marker and just thumping color all over it. See how I'm just tapping that marker on there? It does not ruin your marker. I just like use the marker on a piece of paper and just scribble it off a little bit. And it's totally fine, but this gives a really neat look too. Okay, so we'll stamp that apple mint and this Zig marker. So you can see that gives you more of a speckled kind of look. So that's kind of fun. So those are two other ways to do it if you don't have ink cubes. But if you don't have ink cubes, I would suggest at some point to maybe just give 2 or 3 a try. Maybe pick a couple colors that you like to do a technique like this with. A green, a pink, maybe a red, and or a blue, a turquoise, whatever you like. Just pick up an ink cube that's maybe a little darker than the shade that you like to work with, and you'll be able to do this technique really easily. Now I'm going to take these 2 little rose stamps here, and I'm going to use some of our Carnation collection. Now, if you guys got that kit, it had all of these ink cubes in it. That was the watercolor floral kit. But we also sell these as a little sleeve of 3 colors together. It's the light, medium, and dark carnation. We also have a light, medium, and dark spruce, and we have something coming out in August that I think you're gonna like. So some more colors. That's my hint. Okay, so what I suggest is when you're doing this part of the technique, try to go a little further apart in color depth. So don't do light and medium, or don't do medium and dark. Get rid of medium and do light and dark. You get a lot more vibrant difference between them when you do that. All right. So these are very easy to tell which one is light and which one is dark. So I'm not going to worry about the lids getting mixed up. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stamp in these little parts right here. So I'm adding some flowers in there. I'm going to start with the light carnation.
Do we have a date for the next release?
We do. The next release is June, I want to say 26th, but it's a Tuesday. Whatever that Tuesday is, I think it's the 26th. I don't have a calendar.
Think you said June.
I'm sorry, July. Boy, that'd be really far away. 11 months away. July 26th, I think. Let me see. I have a calendar right here. I could look, I guess. Yes, July 26th. So about 2 weeks away. All right, so now I'm going to take this darker carnation and I'm just going to give it a little bit from the bottom up onto the one side. And then I'm going to stamp it. Oh, isn't that so pretty? It makes you look like, I don't know, it makes you look like you're some kind of like coloring genius, and I'm not. So I love how that works for me. All right, so I'm going to do the next one using the opposite direction stamp. And again, if you're a person that knows where light comes from, maybe you want the light to be coming all the same way. I'm not that person. So I'm just going to do it wherever I feel like doing it. And it's just going to have depth all over it, just like my leaves do. So I'm going to ink up this opposite flower. And then I'll give this a little bit right there like that. And I'm going to put that right on this one. Oh, isn't that nice? So this stamp set is the Summer Silhouettes. It came in the kit and it will be back in stock as an individual product coming up. But if you have this set, the Wild Blossoms stamp set, it's got little flowers, it's got little branches and little empty spaces to stamp these flowers in. It's just a different kind of lighter, more delicate version of this. So you can also use that. So, you know, if you don't have the right thing, it's okay. And even if you have a stamp set where all of this is together, where you don't have the opportunity to put the flowers on separately, maybe it's just one big, you know, one big stamp, you can put a little tape over the flowers and do all the green work first, and then pull the tape off and then just do the flowers and just kind of wipe around them. So you can use like a big background stamp if you have it. Don't worry if you mess up. It's only paper. And you're just kind of trying stuff out. All right, again, a little bit on the side there. And stamp. I am digging this. This is fun. All right. You like craft cardstock, Julie? I do too. All right, now I'm going to go up here on this one. I'm going to keep this stamp on here. I'm going to do a couple more on this stamp, and then I'm going to change it up with the other stamp. I feel like that might be a little bit too, that's all right. We'll see how it looks. Ooh, yes. And I am cleaning it in between. Now remember, I'm going lighter, and then I'm adding my darker. So it's not messing up the ink cubes, because especially with these colors, because this is in this color. It's just got some deeper pigments too. So you're not going to ruin this. If you go from the lightest color down to the darkest color, you don't ever have to worry. All right, I'm going to put one of those here, but I'm going to bring the darkness in from this side this time. Okay. All right, so now let's do the other ones with this other stamp so it kind of looks a little different. And if you prefer, you can, ink up your stamp with your cube like that. And we'll do one more. So, Tom,
Mm-hmm.
do you have a word of the day? If you're new here, occasionally Tom will say a word at home sometimes, and then I'll say, oh my gosh, that's a word of the day. And then we share that word. And that happened over the weekend. And Tom, I hope he's going to use that as his word of the day. Now, one thing before you get started, Tom, one thing I want to say is, you see how all my pink is like right in here? I feel like it needs a little pink right here. Now, I don't really have a place to put a flower. There's no branch, but nobody knows that, right? Nobody knows there's not a branch over here somewhere. So I'm going to add just a little bit of pink in there. And if it doesn't look good, I'll just cut it off. So I'm going to add that. Let's see. I'm going to add that right over here. See, I feel like it needed that, right? Just a little something over there. And nobody would know that that branch doesn't continue. So, okay. All right, Tom, the floor is yours. Word of the day.
So, word of the day. Okay, so I have a couple foodie words today. We've talked about, you and I are on drastically different spectrums of the restricted diet.
Yes, Tom is very low salt.
Low salt, no salt. And Gina is
and low sugar.
Diabetic. So yeah. It's wonderful. Meal planning is wonderful in our house.
Yeah.
And so I make these pancakes that are totally devoid of taste.
They really are.
And so they're called bland cakes.
I came downstairs and I said, "Did you make breakfast?" He said, "Yeah, I made bland cakes." That's the word of the day. Bland cakes.
Bland cakes. I leave the D off just for the bland cakes. Okay, and the other one was another name for salt-free popcorn, which you never finish the bowl.
Yeah, I like my popcorn with a little bit of butter and lots of salt. And
that would be forlorn corn.
Yeah, we were watching a movie and I was having this delicious popcorn and Tom was having his forlorn corn. Poor Tom. All right. So let's trim this down a little bit. Let's see what it would look like if I go to that 1/2 inch mark. I'm going to keep all this because I like the way this looks. And then I'm going to have space down here for a greeting. All right, so I'm going to cut that 3.5 inches. And then I'm going to cut this to 4 3/4 of an inch. So I don't want to cut too much off the bottom because I want a little of this green. And I don't want to cut the top of the flower off. So I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch at a time. Cut 1/8 off of here. I could have cut this with my master layouts too. So if you're looking for the perfect A2 size master layouts die set, it's either master layouts 1 or master layouts 2. It will cut this perfect size for you. And master layouts 2 would have given you a nice little stitched edge, but I thought of it after I made the first cut. All right, so I found a little piece of cardstock that works perfectly there, and I'm going to mount those two together. So let's do that. Forlorn corn. Poor Tom. Oh, I gotta change this. I'll tell you, I don't know how you do it, Tom. Well, I hope I have enough tape here. This is my last bit of tape. This is scary. Are you guys like me when it comes to tape? I have to have extra rolls of tape, extra rolls of toilet paper, and extra rolls of paper towels to feel comfortable in my house. I can't stand it when I'm low on any of those rolls.
You make trees very nervous.
I know, trees don't want to grow near me. Okay, so I'm going to put this whole thing, well, we could put it on a pink background. That would be very pretty. Let's take a look at Innocent Pink. I think that would be really pretty, don't you guys? Would you like me to use Innocent Pink, or would you like me to use white? I'll show it to you up against white, but I think we're going to go with pink. So that's the pink. Here's the white. White is pretty. It really makes the pink stand out on the flowers. But something about that Innocent Pink really, really looks nice. Because these pinks are definitely a warm pink, as opposed to like Passionate Pink and Bubblegum Pink, which are very cool pinks in our collection. So these and Innocent Pink and Dusty Rose are all very, very warm pinks. All right, so I'm going to cut this down to 4 1/4 here. I realized today that it either takes me 5 minutes to make a card or an hour to make a card, because that's my lives and that's my videos, my 5-minute card videos or my 1 hour live videos. I just enjoy being with you guys, so I guess maybe I drag it out a bit, but I'm not stopping now. All right, it looks like Innocent Pink has won the race here. Everybody likes Innocent Pink for this. Okay. And that's going to look really nice. I like that big fat border around there. Oh, green. I didn't even think of green. There's a lot of green on there. Green would probably look pretty. I'll show you what it would look like. So this would be, that would be grass green. We could go with jelly bean on that. And that would be pretty too. Definitely. I think my heart is with the pink though. But I'm glad that we tried it, and I'm glad that everybody got a chance to look at it, because the green does look really pretty. All right, so I was thinking of doing a die cut word on here, but you know how I always do a big black die cut word? I thought we could do something a little bit different this time, and we could actually colorize our word with the dark carnation and a blending brush. So let me get a word die here that I want to use. I want to use that hello. I really like that one, but I don't know where it is. Here it is. I want to use this one here. So I'm going to cut that out in white. But before I do, now you could do this one of 2 ways. You could either ink blend all over the cardstock and then cut it out, or you could cut it out and ink blend after you've cut it out. I'm going to do that. You like the colored card bases? Yeah, sometimes I just start using white card bases and they all start to look the same. So the colored card bases really do look nice. Oh, I just broke my nail. Just chipped it. That's uncomfortable. It's not that it hurt. It's just, it's going to snag on everything, you know. But you know what you can use? You can use your Prismacolor blending stump thing, and you can file your nails with it in a pinch in your craft room. This is your blending stump cleaner, and it's rough. Also, the Tim Holtz sanding block works really good for manicuring on the go. All right, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to lay this die upside down off to one side of my die cutting machine. And I'm going to place this piece of cardstock right on top. This way I'm not using a whole bunch of this piece of cardstock, and it's gonna cut very easily because it's upside down. Blade side up really makes a difference. I should have glued it back with Connect Glue, Chuck, you're right. I didn't think of it. Too late now. Chuck, we're gonna need a manicuring tool from you next. For the craft room. Okay, so I have my craft pick here, and I'm just going to pop this word right out of this die. Now, it would kind of be fun to layer this up a little bit, but I think it'll be okay just doing the single layer. Should I double it? I'll double it. I'll double it. You guys are convincing me that I should double it. Okay, I'll cut one more. I'll go on to the other side here. I'll cut this one. Yeah, I think you're right. It'll be nicer if it's popped up just a little bit, and by doubling it, it just makes it feel a little bit more sturdy. Yeah, let's double it. Great. Everybody's in agreement. Okay. Well, that jumped right out. So, do we have any new people here who are newer crafters? If you are, make sure you say hello. And make sure you leave a comment throughout the live, because somebody is going to take this card home. Well, I'm going to mail it to you. And we pick that person by the comments. Okay, so there's my second one, and I'm going to glue these two together using some Connect glue just to make it a little bit more sturdy. It's actually a really good idea that you guys told me to do this, because I'm going to be ink blending on top of it, and it'll be flapping all over the place, and this will make it a little bit stronger. I do like to cut intricate dies blade side up. Anything intricate that you struggle with that maybe you're not able to cut and you think it's a bad die or the blade isn't that good, try just flipping it upside down, because it really, really makes a big difference. All right, I haven't seen my Connect glue in like a week. Is it still coming out? Yes, it is. Okay. So I am going to do some little dots on the back of this, and I know it's hard to see this because it's white on white, but I am just doing tiny little glue dots. I'm using my fine tip bottle that I have Connect glue in. And I'm just lightly dotting the whole die cut here. Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to put these together. Now, I always start at one side and make sure that that's together properly. And then I work my way across the whole thing. It's forgiving because it's liquid glue, so, you know, it gives you a little bit of time to play with it and fidget with it. Okay. That looks good. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to colorize this. And the color that I'm going to use is the dark Carnation. So I'm going to use my blending brush. And people often think that they can't use blending brushes with the ink cubes, but you definitely can. It's just a little bit easier for you to hold the blending brush down and just rub the ink cube over the surface of the brush instead of trying to do it this way. So I did get a little ink on me there. All right, so let's color this. I'm going to get it all over my nails, but that's okay. It's actually very pretty to ink blend over a die cut. It's got that real mellow look, and it's actually a little bit shaded, which is kind of fun too. So this is the dark Carnation. Very pretty. I like it. There we go. Now you can also go direct if you want. You can take the ink cube and go right on it direct. But I kind of like the, I don't know, the shadiness of this. That sounds like a bad word, shady. And it can be bad, but in this case, shady is good. Sounds like a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing. Okay. All right, so isn't that pretty? It's just soft. Yeah. Yeah, you could totally do everything. Hey, my daughter Rena used to make a lot of crafting videos for our company. And I never even sent her big ink pads. I just sent her ink cubes to use. And she used to ink up whole background stamps with an ink cube. You totally can do that. So, you know, if ink cubes make more sense for your budget, you definitely can get lots more colors. And I totally get it. All right. So now, let me flip this over. So now, if I lay this right on top, I feel like I can't see it quite as well as I would like to. So I found a little bit of vellum, and I had a bunch of it cut up into 2-inch strips, and I think a 2-inch strip is going to work really well. So let me grab one of those over here. So you don't really lose any of the beauty of the design when you use vellum, but look how much more this greeting pops off of the card when you have that little bit of vellum just covering. So let's use the vellum. Rena's doing great. She is so busy right now. She is doing hair, and she's doing very well. She does my hair, and I love it. And she's really happy. She definitely found her thing. And I know that's hard because we all loved her in the crafting world. I know I did, but I also really love seeing her happy. So that's the most important thing, right? All right, so I'm going to pick a spot. It could be any spot. And then I'm going to just do a little score line going down here just to help me. This is pretty thin vellum. This is the Gina K Designs vellum, and it's not a cardstock. It's a vellum paper. So it does make it easier to fold, and you don't necessarily need to score it, but I wanted to start by scoring one side. So I knew I would have it in a good spot. Okay. So if we're going to put this greeting down at the bottom, we definitely want it to be down at the bottom. You know, you can slide it around and put it wherever you want, but I feel like down here there's a little more empty space, so let's make use of that and still be able to see more of those flowers at the top. Lori, have you contacted her? She is really busy. I contacted her to try to get in, and she didn't even have an opening for her mother. Okay. So I'm just gonna fold it along the other side here, and that's totally fine to do. Get a good crease in it. It doesn't crack. And I'm gonna take, again, a little bit of tape and go down the side there and pull it nice and tight. And that gives me that little bit of vellum there. I don't use vellum enough. But it is, you're right, it's very amazing the difference when you have the vellum on there. So let's see how this looks now on the card. So one thing that you guys can do if you prefer, because that looks really pretty, but I am going to show this to you just because we have a little bit of time. I'm going to take the vellum off here. Very aggressive here. I'm going to peel this apart gently. It's really starting to set down here. Okay. So if you want, you can put your vellum on this piece first. And then that might look a little bit better on your black piece of cardstock, if that makes sense. You see how it's really tucked in there? It'd be nice if I put it on straight, but you get the idea, right? Let's try to make that a little straighter. Probably looks exactly the same. It looks higher on the bottom to me. And I have to give this to somebody. I don't think it is higher on the bottom, but I don't know. Let me just mess with this for about 20 minutes. Does this sound like any of you? I don't know. It looks a hair off. Okay. I think that looks exactly the same, honestly. All right. I'm going to tape that over the vellum, and I'm going to put a little extra right there on the vellum just to really smash it down. Yeah, that was a lot of finagling, but I think it looks better when you tuck it onto the white part. I wasn't 100% sure I was going to use vellum until I remembered that I was using a colored greeting. So I think having the vellum under there, it also protects it a little bit more from coming up because you've got it wedged in between those two layers. And then this whole panel is going to go on here. So it's not just one little bit of tape that's holding it. Yes, the devil is in the details. You're right. Okay. So I'm going to put this on here. Okay. And then we can use Connect glue to put this on top of here. And the Connect glue actually holds really well to the vellum. So let's do that. Let's put some Connect glue on. I'm going to use the ugly side here so that I can use that other side again for another video. Somebody yelled at me in one of my videos and said, what a waste of craft cardstock. But honestly, I want to let you guys know that I don't waste this cardstock unless I'm really having a hard time. I usually will grab a new piece and use that for the video, but the other side, you saw how good that was. It's in great condition. So I can use this craft cardstock for card panels, for layering panels. So if I do craft magic, or I want to run a piece of craft through my die cutting machine with an embossing folder, I don't waste them. I use them. I don't throw them out unless I have a really bad time on screen and I mess up both sides. So please don't worry. Although Tom did say trees don't like growing near me. It's because of my paper towel issue. All right, so I'm going to pop this right here. Wow. Can you guys hear that car going by outside? It's so soundproof in here, and I can still hear that. Okay. I love that. It's so pretty. Okay. Let me just clean that off. And then we'll get the nice side. And then what do you think? Should we put a few little disco ball sequins on here? They came back in stock, the mini disco ones. So let's put a few little... This is a mess. This has dewdrops. It's got rhinestones. This is the catch-all basin. So let's use these. A couple little minis. We'll add just a couple in here. There, one up here, because the mini ones are really nice. They're so tiny. They're called micro disco balls. They're just a little something. So that's 5 up there. I think we'll just do them on the top since we've got all this going on down here. Let me find my jewel picker. My jewel picker is quite a mess. I've got glue all over it. From my last video. I don't know if you got to see my 5-minute card video this week, my reverse stenciling technique. That's a fun one. Check it out here on YouTube, if you're on YouTube. I'll put the tiny ones toward the end. Do one more tiny one up here. To flip them over first. Oh, goodness. I go home wearing more sequins. Okay, I think that really adds something to that card. There we go. Well, that was super fun to make. I hope you'll try this inking technique. It's really fun. It's something different to do, and it just stretches those solid image stamps, makes them feel more like a two-step stamp, or even like you took a little bit of time with a colored pencil and did some Gamsol or shading with it. So, but so easy to do, just tapping it with that ink cube. All right, everybody. Well, Tom, your music was beautiful tonight. It was very relaxing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Tom, you're going to pick a winner for our card tonight.
All right. Got a winner. Got a winner.
Got a winner. Chicken dinner.
Cheesy drum roll for this beautiful pink. Perfect art. Hello. The winner tonight is Stephanie Waldhart. Stephanie Waldhart.
Yay, Stephanie. Congratulations. Stephanie, just send your name and info and your address to info@GinaKdesigns.com. And my wonderful customer service team will get that message to me, and I will get that card out to you. Well, again, I hope you enjoyed this technique. I hope you'll give it a try, and I hope that you'll share some of your cards that you make using this over in our Facebook group, Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. All right, everybody. Well, Tom and I will be back on Thursday afternoon for a Crafternoon Stampin' Chat Live. We go on at noon Central Time, and we will post that in our Facebook group and also on our Facebook page. And I also put it in my Instagram stories too. So look for that. And then I'll be back over the weekend with another 5-minute card video. Until then, stay safe and healthy. I love you all so very much. And see you again real soon. Bye-bye.